It is Wolf, and it is a stream. And finally, as the title indicates, I can stream retro games now. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit. I've realized that honestly, like since I've started. Sorry, also sorry if I sound a little stuffy. I, uh, okay. I'll keep it real with you guys. I had some really good tacos for dinner. So good in fact that my entire body has been trying to digest them very fast, so I feel a little bit off. So if I have to like pause the stream suddenly and disappear, you guys know why. But anyway, sorry, that is a little bit gross, but yeah, that's sometimes when my stomach gets weird like this. My nose also gets a little stuffy for some reason. Anyway, um, so yeah, as you can see though, I'm streaming the original Forza Motorsport on an original Xbox. This is not emulated or anything. This is on original hardware. And so what I did was I actually finally invested in a proper video upscaler. I got a RetroTink 4K CE. Uh kind of expensive. Kind of overkill really for me too. But I was like, like I I have a lot of ideas for streams that involve like playing retro games and stuff. And also, like, it would be nice to be able to play them on my bigger TV instead of just on my small TV because the larger TV doesn't have compositor or component inputs or anything. And also, I'm not sure. I don't know if my new TV, because I had to upgrade, well, not upgrade, but get a new TV like a couple months ago because my old one broke. It's like the same type of TV, but just different brand. Um, a lot of 4K TVs don't seem to recognize anything below 720p resolution now. So, yeah, that's a thing to consider. um, but anyway, uh, so I am probably. I mean, I really this Nurburgring level. I've played quite a bit of Forza Motorsport actually, like off the channel, just my free time, because I couldn't stream it or anything, because I didn't have the equipment. But this is the only arcade level that I have left, and I really want to try to finish it. And I've tried it a bunch of times. It's really hard, because it's two laps of the Nurburgring, which is huge, and also like the AI is at the same or better car level compared to you. Um, but anyway. Oh, hang on. Sorry, hang on. You guys are gonna hear copyrighted music for a second here. I gotta turn the music off. I'm probably gonna get. Hang on, wait a minute. No, no, wait. No St. John. No, no, don't play any St. John. Stop it. Stop it. um, hang on. I gotta turn the. I gotta. I forgot. I gotta turn the music down. I had the. Hang on. Um, there we go. Okay, that should fix it. I have some custom music on my Xbox because like you can on the original Xbox you can rip CDs to it and have like a soundtrack saved. Um Now I gotta remember which car and stuff I was using. I think it was yes. Yeah. Okay. Um you can put custom soundtracks on the original Xbox, and you can use them in some games. And I had been using that in Forza Motorsport, and I completely forgot that I had that turned on. And it's mostly St. John and Breakins, just because I already had some CDs that I had burned with their music, just kind of messing around one time. Um, I think I have a CD that I made too that has like even more than that. I think I have like some Deco and stuff on here. Okay, I do not hear St. John or Breakins, so I think we're good. Um, but yeah. Ooh, actually, also, I need to turn my TV's volume down. Sorry it's taking me a minute to get this all set up. My TV seemed quieter at first than it really was. But so, yes, I finally, as I was saying, invested in a RetroTink. Um, which, if you don't know, it's a video upscaler, and it's a pretty well-known video upscaler. There's various video upscalers out there. They range in price, and in fact, I already did have a component to HDMI converter, but that one did not convert the resolution. It only converted like the actual like video output type. So that didn't really work for streaming or whatever because so it's kind of complicated. So I stream with an Elgato 4K-X, which is hooked up to a Mac Studio. And so the 4K-X can only recognize, similar to my TV like I was saying earlier, it can only recognize 720p and above. It can't recognize older resolutions, or lower resolutions. So I wasn't able to stream older stuff, even using the component to HDMI converter that I already had, because it was still like 480p or whatever. And at least I think that was the issue. The thing was, I could actually still record videos though, because I have older Elgato capture cards. I have a HD60S and a Game Capture HD. So that's like the previous two iterations of Elgato. The Game Capture HD is... Oh, okay, let's restart. This is not going well. This Nürburgring thing, you kind of got to be in first the whole time. If you lose ground, it's really hard to catch up. So what I was saying though, so those older capture cards, the HD60S didn't have component input or anything, but the Game Capture HD did have component input. And so I was able to record from like PlayStation 2, original Xbox, Dreamcast, anything like that, using that. But the thing is, that is not compatible with my Mac Studio. It's not compatible with Apple Silicon Macs. So, yeah, it's kind of a complicated mismatch of equipment. But now that I have this video upscaler, the RetroTink is taking this, I think it's like 480p for Forza. It's one of those things on original Xbox, it kind of depends on the game, because some of them actually can output higher resolutions. I know that of all the games, 25 to Life can output in 720p on the original Xbox, which is kind of incredible. But anyway, so I think it's like 480p that's going into the RetroTink right now, and then the RetroTink is outputting 4K 60, and that is going into my Elgato, which is actually downscaling it back to 1080p because I can only stream in 1080p. If I had a faster internet connection, I could probably stream in 4K, but I don't think my internet connection could handle that, even though my computer probably could. So yeah, which is, I know that it's kind of like silly for me to have it outputting 4K when it's just getting downscaled back to 1080p, but that's just how I had it set up, and I didn't want to mess with the settings and accidentally screw something up, because it already was working. So yeah, and then also, like if I just leave the RetroTink on 4K, like I won't forget to change it or whatever. That being said, I might make a video at some point in the near future doing like a comparison thing and asking you guys for opinions on, in the future when I record retro games, what quality, like which way looks better to you guys for me to record stuff. If it looks better for me to use an older Elgato capture card and just capture it directly, or if you guys would prefer for me to capture like I'm streaming right now, where I use like a, component into the RetroTink, and then I could record in 4K because I don't need to worry about internet connection speed for 4K recording. And of course, like, it's only gonna look so good in 4K because these games do not natively output 4K, but it might look better. I know that the RetroTink also has like a bunch of different profiles and stuff that you can do. There's a ton of settings on it. Like I said, it's kind of overkill for what I really needed, but I wanted to get something good, and so I figured I would just invest the money and, get what I wanted. But yeah, I know that there's a bunch of different settings you can mess with and stuff to make stuff look different or better or worse. And I haven't really messed with that. And the thing is, I think most of that stuff is more so for like 2D games. I don't really know how well any of that would work for 3D stuff, because I really don't play that many things before like PS1. I really don't play that many 2D games, although I do sometimes. So yeah, long story short, I don't know how much that would actually help the, okay. You know what? I am going to go ahead and come back to this race another day. Let's play a race that I might actually be able to achieve. But yeah. RetroTink also has a ton of inputs, so that's really cool because, like, I have component cables for my PS2 and my Xbox, so that's already going to look good. And then I also have, I have a VGA cable for... Which event did I not complete here? Yeah, I think I didn't complete... Do I have a GTR? I don't think I have any GTRs. Yeah, that's why I didn't do that one yet. This one might be the same story. Oh, I have Vipers and Corvettes. Let's try this. So, what I was saying though, so that's good because like some consoles have different, various like output things and stuff. So like the Dreamcast, for example, it's kind of strange, but the Dreamcast actually has a VGA cable that you can use with it. And the VGA cable looks really good. I messed around with that a little bit before. And yeah, it looks really good for Dreamcast. And the RetroTink can input VGA or can take VGA in and convert it to like HDMI and stuff. So that's cool. So if I record something on Dreamcast in the future, that should look good as well. And if I ever record something from like an old computer, a lot of those VGA was like the best output that you were going to get out of them. So that's good too. There's another situation like before, like I had I think I still have somewhere, a VGA to HDMI adapter. And I think if you guys remember, it's kind of an older video now, but the video that I did where I did SpongeBob on like a Linux computer. If I remember right, I had issues with getting VGA to capture, even though I had like a VGA to HDMI adapter. So yeah, just hopefully the RetroTink should just make stuff easier overall for capturing things and whatnot. Yeah, and it's enabling me to do a stream right now, which means also in the future I might finally go ahead and do the idea that I've talked about a little bit before with wanting to maybe do like a game roulette, because I have so many games. I've thought before it could be interesting, like if I could find like a set time each week to like sort of spin a wheel and pick a random game out of my collection and just like stream it for a little while. Now I can do that because I have like a device that can accept like any video input possible and transform it into something that my Elgato can take. Yeah, I think that could be a cool idea. And another thing too, I was actually a little worried for the timing of when my RetroTink was going to arrive because, for one, I didn't pay for like the expensive shipping, so it's coming all the way from Asia. For two, though, there's also been all sorts of weird stuff with like tariffs and stuff. RetroTink right now is one of the companies that is like absorbing tariff costs, so you don't actually have to pay anything extra. But part of the issue with the tariff stuff in the US right now, alongside the fact that it makes things more expensive, is that it's kind of confusing to even figure out how to pay them sometimes, because this is not a thing that has existed like previously for a long time, especially because now there's no de minimis shipping, which meant before that like you didn't have to pay any tariffs or taxes on anything that was, I think it was under $800, so long as it was coming from pretty much any country except for like a few. And so now though that has been eliminated also, so like even if like my girlfriend were to send me something from the UK, like I would probably have to pay taxes on it now, which it's one of those things where like it's annoying that it costs more, but the bigger annoyance is just the fact of trying to figure out like how do I even pay that. So anyway, that was one thing. And then also I was a little concerned because there was talk amongst politicians, and I'm not going to get into it because I'm not a politics channel, but there was talk amongst politicians of putting a 100% tariff on things from China. And I don't know actually where the RetroTink ships from in Asia. It might be China, it might be somewhere else. But either way, I was a little bit concerned about that because I was like, crap, like if that screws with my shipment, then that could like really screw with my shipment. Like I might not get it, or I might have to pay like an extra like $500 for it. So anyway, though, it all worked out. But so I was a little worried for the timing though with it, because I actually have an idea for a Halloween stream this year, and I could have sort of done it without the RetroTink, but the RetroTink just allows me to do it in a much more interesting way. So, yeah, I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but it is sort of a retro game, and I'll leave it at that. And it's a spooky themed thing, and it should be really cool. I already kind of tested it out. It seems to work. I haven't tested it like through the RetroTink, but I'm pretty certain it'll work through the RetroTink. And even if for some reason it didn't, there is another way that I can do it. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's something that I've not even really seen that many people cover on YouTube. So it should be cool. And so assuming that all goes well with that and that I actually do this Halloween stream, it would actually be on, oh God, I was trying to look at the chat and I got distracted. Oh, no, 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 no. Assuming that I actually do get to do this Halloween stream, I would be doing it on the 30th rather than Halloween itself. Oh no, not another one. Yeah, the night of the 30th. So it might even technically still be the 31st because it might be past midnight. Um, but yeah, I actually have Halloween plans for once, for the first time in a really long time. It's kind of funny. It's not really directly Halloween related, but my grandpa asked if I wanted to go gambling with him, and I was like, sure, why not? I was looking for something to do on Halloween. Let's go gambling. Um, so yeah, that's my Halloween plan, which should be cool. And I actually also have a Halloween costume this year for once, for the first time in a long time. Um, I have gotten together a costume to dress as a G-boy from Ikebukuro Westgate Park, the Japanese drama from the early 2000s, which is, I know that's really kind of obscure, especially for like a Halloween costume in 2025, but that show is available on Netflix. I just watched it like last month. Really enjoyed it. And if you haven't seen it before, the G-boys, so it's a Japanese drama, and the main character Makoto is kind of like a problem solver in his neighborhood. And the G Boys are this sort of like, they're sort of a gang. They're kind of like the hoodlums with a heart type of characters is what I've kind of like described them as to like my friends and stuff who haven't seen the show. They're like this gang, but they don't really do gang things. They just kind of are, rebels. And whenever Makoto needs help like looking for somebody or whatever in the show, like they'll usually help him put up posters and stuff. So even though they're like kind of gangsters, they're also like good guys. So that's, yeah. And the outfit was pretty easy to put together because their color is yellow, and so I just kind of took inspiration from a bunch of the characters, how they dress on the show. Like they have like random like yellow jerseys and stuff. I mean, they look like gangsters. Like they look like the stereotypical like 2000s gangsters. So I went ahead and I got myself a yellow sports jersey and a hat that says G Boys, which I had to get custom made. Kind of expensive. But by the way, this is not sponsored, but if you're looking for good custom hats, Lids, like the store that's in the mall, in like a lot of malls, Lids actually has a website online where you can order hats from them custom, and they're kind of expensive. It was like $70 for mine, but I got a custom hat that says G Boys on it, which is, there's a character in the show that has a hat that says that, so that's kind of where that came from. So anyway, yeah, Halloween costume, etc., gambling, yeehaw. uh, and I'm not sure, I'm considering maybe recording a little bit of my gambling stuff and making a video about it, but I also feel kind of weird about doing that because I know gambling, like, every time I mention it, I feel kind of weird mentioning it because, like, I don't want to conflate gambling with just, like, video gaming because they're very different. Gambling is, like, gambling can become addictive and stuff. And so I don't know. If I do that, I would probably make it, like, 18 plus video. But yeah, anyway. I'm really happy though to be doing something for Halloween though for once, even if it's not necessarily like a Halloween thing, because I haven't done anything for Halloween in a long time, and I feel like I've probably talked about this a little bit before on the channel, but I don't think I really ever gone into it in depth. Like when I was a kid, of course, I went and I did trick or treating and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed trick or treating and things like that. But like, then eventually it was like after I think 5th grade, I stopped trick-or-treating, and I just kind of stopped doing anything. I passed out candy a couple times. I remember my freshman year of high school, I wasn't really doing anything for Halloween, and then I got like this random text from one of my friends inviting me to go like pass out candy with some other people. One of the few times I got invited to something when I was in high school. And then after that, though, I didn't really do anything the rest of high school. Never went to like any parties or whatever. I didn't do any like high school partying in general. And then went to college. I was always usually like either too busy on Halloween to do anything or never really got invited to anything. So yeah, there was like a lot of years where I didn't really do any Halloween stuff. And it always annoyed me because I was like, man, I want to get a costume together. I want to do something for Halloween this year. And I just never got around to it. But then, what was it? There was, well, okay, here's one that really frustrated me, right? So in college, at least here in the US, like Halloween is a really big day, like really big day. Like there's tons of parties across like college campuses and stuff on Halloween. Like it's a really big deal. And I wasn't like a super big partier in college, but like I was, I'd go to a party. I don't drink or anything, but like I'd hang out and like I was single at the time. I'd like talk to the girls and stuff like that. Um, and so like I remember finding out that Halloween, my senior year of college, was supposed to be on a Saturday, and I was hyped for it, like ever since freshman year, cause I was like, dude, that's gonna be awesome. Like, there's probably gonna be parties on Friday night. There's probably gonna be parties on Saturday night. Like, I'm not gonna have to worry about class the next day. I can like even if I don't get invited to something, there'll probably be so much stuff going. Like, I'm just gonna dress up and wander around until I get pulled into a party. And I was so excited for it. And then my senior year happened during the COVID-19 pandemic, so none of that happened. um, that sucked. My senior year Halloween was sat in my room. I think, yeah, I had a radio show, like one of my college radio shows. I had an episode that night, and that was my senior year big Halloween, and I was so upset about that, honestly. Um, and then in like grad school, even though I went out with friends a lot, I don't think I really did anything on Halloween in grad school either. I think I did some shopping. That's kind of been like what I've done on Halloween the past couple years. Is like I'll go do some shopping or whatever just to like do something. Um, but yeah. And then this reminds me of another thing too. I think part of the reason why I fell a little bit out of love with Halloween for a while was there was this one thing that I had to do in the 5th grade that really like screwed up a couple months of my 5th grade year. Which I know this is like a long time ago. I probably sound really silly still complaining about it, but so when I was in 5th grade, I feel like I've maybe told this story before, but I don't remember. Anyway, it's getting close to Halloween. I might as well tell it again. So when I was in 5th grade, towards the beginning of the year, I remember our teachers came up to us with this idea. They were like, "Hey, guys, we've got this really cool idea for this thing. Like, we'll do it around Halloween, but you guys will have to practice for it. Like, are you interested in this? Like, we want to put together. We want to do a dance. We want to not like a dance, like a party dance. Like they wanted us to like choreograph a dance. Um, oh God." I'm getting pushed off the track. Hang on, I saw somebody said something in the chat. I will look in a second. Hang on, let me speed this Corvette across the finish line. Okay. Jimmy Great. Hello. Hello, Jimmy Great. But yeah, what I was saying is this story about 5th grade. So they were like, we want you guys to choreograph a thing to Thriller, like Michael Jackson's Thriller. They wanted us to do this like dance, and a bunch of us at the time didn't really realize what that was going to entail, and so we're like, oh yeah, it'd be cool because like our parents will be able to come and watch it, like this and that, and we were kind of into it, and they were like, okay, but like you're gonna have to do this, like we're gonna have to teach you this on recess over a while. And in reality, it's well, no, it was still quite a long time because that was Halloween's in October. I think I had started school in like August that year, so that was like almost 3 months pretty much where like all of our recesses were spent learning choreography for Michael Jackson's Thriller. And I remember like a lot of us didn't realize how long it was going to take. A lot of us thought it was just going to be like a couple weeks or whatever, and then it just kept going on and on and on and on. um and a lot of us started to get really frustrated with the fact that we kept having to do that stuff. um but none of us really were able to get out of it at that point because we were already so far into it. And yeah, so that was really annoying because I lost like 3 months of my recess for a stupid like, well, okay, I mean Thriller is a pretty cool song and stuff, but like it was a silly thing for our teachers to kind of do for no real reason. And I remember everybody was jealous of this one kid in my class. He was actually pretty good friends with me. He had really kind of oddly strictly religious parents. Like he was a pretty well-adjusted kid. He wasn't the type of kid that was gonna like complain of like he wasn't the type of kid that was gonna like bring up religious stuff all the time in school or whatever, but his parents were really strict about witchcraft. And so they were very like anti, they weren't, it was weird, they weren't anti Halloween, but they were anti like stuff related to Halloween. So obviously like witches and goblins and ghouls and stuff, but also like zombies and stuff. And I remember he used to tell me that like his parents would get angry at him if like he played like a zombie game on Roblox, or like how he liked Club Penguin because Club Penguin did Halloween stuff but didn't really do any witchcraft things for Halloween. And anyway, because Thriller is like a zombie dance, he actually, his parents sent him in with a note saying that he was like not allowed to participate in it. And so he was like the only person in our grade that didn't have to learn the stupid choreography for that dance for like however many months. And I remember like he would go out, run off to recess while all of us were stuck doing this dance choreography. And yeah, that was that. That's the end of the story. Jimmy Great, do I know you? I don't know. Do you? I think your name has popped up in my chat before. You've probably watched my streams before. I played Roblox before. Well, I mean, I still play Roblox sometimes, but I did a couple of Roblox streams for a while there, and those are oh no, oh no, oh this is bad. We might still be able to recover this. That's one of the struggles of playing racing games while you're Twitch streaming, or not Twitch streaming, I'm on YouTube. While you're streaming in general, is checking chat, because everything is so fast paced in racing games you can't really look off of the road. See if I can catch up. I might be able to recover this. Especially because I think my Corvette is the best car in this race. I'm about to play the original AC game. Do you mean the original Assassin's Creed? I played that a couple years ago for the first time. I'd played other Assassin's Creed games. The original's pretty cool. But it's one of those games that I don't know if it's aged that well. You know what I mean? Like, it's good, but it's definitely a little bit like simpler than the newer Assassin's Creed games. There's not as much like stuff in it, which makes sense, because it is the beginning of the series. But it's pretty cool. I bought a new Xbox controller a couple weeks ago when my girlfriend was visiting, because we actually didn't end up getting to play any video games together. I don't think. But I bought a second controller because I only had one, and I was like, oh, if we want to play anything together. I got one of these cool translucent green ones, and like, man, I wish more stuff was still translucent. Like, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks like, you know what, frankly, I don't understand why there isn't translucent electronics anymore, other than the fact that I think it's maybe like a weird, ultra copyright protectiveness thing on the part of various companies, because they don't want people to look at the insides of their electronics. It is so hard to open up some electronics now. Like, there's been times before where I've worked on like stuff, where I've had to try to like fix stuff or whatever, and when did I get 8 views on this stream? Where I've tried to like fix stuff or whatever, and it's so much harder sometimes to fix modern technology compared to older technology. Yeah. Like, okay, just for example, right? So my PS3, like, that's not even a particularly like new that's not even like a particularly new console. I had to replace the clock battery in my PS3, and I did that couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, I don't remember. But that is really hard to do on a PS3, on a PS3 Super Slim. You have to take apart effectively the entire console in order to get just to the clock battery, which is insane, because it's such a small thing, and really it doesn't actually do that much other than keep the time. And the only reason it's important on PS3 is because if the PlayStation servers ever go down, right now it would cause a problem where you wouldn't be able to play downloaded games anymore or whatever, because it wouldn't be able to like phone home to the PlayStation servers and make sure your copies of the games are legit. Anyway, needed to replace that clock battery. It was a pain. It was pretty hard to do, but I got it done with. And then in comparison, for my girlfriend lately, I decided to make her a custom Game Boy Color because I wanted to get her a cool gift, and I figured that kind of combined both of our interests, like gaming, art, stuff like that. And so I got all the parts for it, and like there was a lot of parts. Like I like put a newer screen in, I got a whole new shell, I painted on the shell and everything. That was easier. It was easier to build a custom Game Boy Color than to replace the clock battery on a PlayStation 3. Getting a Steam Deck for Christmas? I sure hope you do. I still don't own a Steam Deck, but I've heard nothing but good things about them. I had been thinking about getting one myself for a while, but I just never did because I ended up getting the gaming PC that I got a while back, and that kind of does everything that I need. And I really don't play games mobilely that much, so yeah. But yeah. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna be right back. I need to go get a drink of water. My throat is really dry. So let me pop this up, and I will be back in like a couple of minutes. I'm back. I am getting myself seated. Um Even though I got this retro tank and stuff, I really need to work still on figuring out where to set all this stuff. Did my bitrate drop for some reason? Excuse me. The stream's current bitrate of 10,000 is lower than the recommended bitrate. I do not think that is true. um, what? There we go. Okay. Huh, maybe it was. I don't know. Anyway, seems to be good. Let me make sure for stream health. Yeah, this is so funny. Okay, stream's bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. I had a feeling this was bad, or this was the inverse of what it was trying to tell me. Stream's bitrate 10,142 kilobytes per second is lower than the recommended bitrate. We recommend that you use a bitrate of 6,800 kilobits per second. Dude, my bitrate was almost twice the recommended bitrate. It is not lower. Okay, anyway. Back to it. Steam Decks, though. Yes. Talking about those. So, those are cool. Like I said, I have heard nothing but good things about those, and I thought about getting one myself for a while, but then got that computer, and so I don't really need one anymore. But yeah, the only thing with Steam Decks is just that, like, I don't know. I really wish that like there was. I wish there was better cross operating system support for games because it feels like so many games are still designed mostly for Windows, and even though Linux has like Proton and various other things like that to um has various things to allow you to play Windows games on Linux, and like a lot of it works pretty well now. I just wish that there was more native ports for stuff like that, and I wish there was more Mac support too, since I mostly use Macs now. Um, can get a translucent backplate for the Steam Deck. That sounds cool. I wonder, does the Steam Deck have vibration? I wonder, because that's one of the cool things with some of these controllers that have like the translucent like housings is that you can see the little vibrating things and like little spinny things that vibrate, and that's kind of cool to look at. I have a Xbox 360 controller that's like really translucent and also has lights inside of it, and you can see the little vibratey spinny things on there really well, and it's cool to see them like freak out when the stuff vibrates. You can install Windows on Steam Deck. Yeah, I've heard that, but the thing is like, so that reminds me, I wasn't entirely done with my thought there. So like, you can install Windows on Steam Deck, and that is cool. But the thing, what I was saying with how I wish games had more like cross operating system support, um, the thing is that Windows itself is just kind of getting harder and harder to use as an operating system. Like I've pretty much swapped completely over to Mac except for the gaming computer that I have just to like exclusively play games on. And I mean even on there like I get advertisements for stuff like on my computer. like I get advertisements from Microsoft for stuff, and then also for a while I was getting advertisements from the EA launcher until I figured out how to turn those off. And it's like, dude, I just want to play video games and watch music videos, like, you know. I am curious to see, because have they had like a update to the Steam Deck yet, or is it still the same Steam Deck? Because I'm curious to see if they ever like do like a big update on it, or if it was just kind of Valve paving the way. Because Valve has done that before with stuff, like where they'll come out with like a hardware item and then that's kind of it. Like they don't really iterate on it because like other companies sort of start to take the idea and iterate on it. And I know that there's been other handheld computers that have started to come out that have been kind of doing that type of thing, and I believe some of them are going to be able to run SteamOS also. Um, I'm curious too to see what goes on with Xbox and Steam or whatever, because I've heard back and forths about how those might interact with gaming stuff. It would be interesting. I've heard before something about like being able to play Steam games on your Xbox, which would be fascinating. I don't really think that's a real thing though. Maybe like Steam, probably, because I think the thing they saw is probably Steam Link though, rather than actual natively running those games on there. Because that would be tough to like, because well maybe not, because I guess Xbox does sort of run a version of Windows. I don't know. It's incredible how much stuff runs on Windows in the background though. Like now I'm on a little bit of a side track thing, but like, so, you know, earlier I was talking about going gambling on Halloween, but something that I found really interesting as I've gone to casinos lately and stuff is seeing sometimes like if a machine has been reset or whatever, like how a lot of those machines actually run on Windows. So like the slot machine is actually running a game that's running on Windows, which is always really fascinating. And the same thing with arcades. There's this one arcade that I've been to a handful of times in my area where they actually will turn off different areas in the arcade if nobody's using them, and then like you have to ask for them to turn them back on. And so I've been the one time I went really early, like right when they opened, and I was the first person there. And so like when I got there and I paid my entry fee and everything, the guy behind the counter was like, okay, you know, let me get everything turned on for you. And he flipped this big breaker switch and kind of walked around the arcade like flipping all the breaker switches on. And so I got to see all the games boot up, which was really, really cool, by the way. I got to see all the like bleeps and bloops that they do when they start up. But a bunch of those ran on Windows too, like in the background. You just can't tell because they're set up to like boot into Windows and then automatically boot into the game. Um, but yeah, it's really interesting. Man, I never run out of problems. Now my ear kind of hurts. New pain. Ugh. I'm getting old. Feels almost like I'm getting a pimple in my ear, which is kind of annoying. I just looked over my cat. She is in the funniest sleeping position right now. She's like laid up on a bunch of stuff, and it looks like she's standing because of the way she's laying and like sleeping though. Oh, I think. Oh no, she's flipping. She's flipping. I'm gonna have to take a look through all my retro games though and see like what type of stuff would be fun to stream. Just because I do have so many games that I've thought before like, oh, that would be fun to stream, but then I didn't have the equipment to do so until now. So like Forza was one of them, but there's a bunch of other racing games that I think would be fun to stream. There's a bunch of other games in general that I think it would be fun to stream. It could even be fun sometime to maybe try to do like multiplayer on some of the older games, because even though servers have shut down for a bunch of stuff, there's also a bunch of like replacement projects for different things. Like I know in the original Xbox, there's like a replacement project for that, but that one seems kind of complicated. On PS2, there's like replacement project stuff for the servers on there, which I actually did connect to one of those one time. It was pretty easy to do. You just had to like set up your internet connection a specific way, and I think I connected to it, but I don't think anybody was actually playing anything. I think like I was like the only person playing Call of Duty 3 on the PS2. But I actually, man, I remember playing Call of Duty 3 on PS2 a handful of times back before the official servers shut down. That was always an interesting experience because like, I mean, I don't think I ever played it after the PS5 came out, but I remember like well into the PS4's lifespan playing Call of Duty 3 on PS2 a couple times, and like you could still find players. Like it wouldn't be like a full match, but you would find like 5 or 6 other people playing, and you could play like a match of it. And I was always just like, wow, huh. It's kind of incredible sometimes how for some games like there's just always still people playing them. Like it's really true with Call of Duty and Battlefield and other similar like super popular AAA games. Like no matter how old they get, if the servers are up, you're still probably going to be able to find a game any time of day, any day of the week. The only time I think I've ever run into that is like a couple times. I think Call of Duty 4, there was a couple times where I couldn't find any other players. Even like BioShock 2, though, I usually end up finding other players playing. BioShock 2 has really fun multiplayer, by the way, if you've never played it. But I don't think it works on PC anymore. I think mostly it's a PlayStation 3 thing. Inversely, also, games of that era. Oh, wait, did I just get a Hennessy? Ooh. I saw a Hennessy truck in real life the other day, which was really cool. I actually saw... There was a Hennessy truck for sale that I saw at a dealership near me one time, and then it sold. And I kind of think it might be the same one. It's really cool. Do I have any Miatas? I didn't think I had any Miatas. Let's just keep jumping through some of these races. Oh, Dodge Challenger. I think my Lancer is probably the best bet for this. I really like the Mitsubishi Lancer too. Like I'm kind of a two-door car type of guy. Like I really like coupes. Hence owning a Dodge Challenger and also a single cab truck. But if I ever did own a four-door car, I would want it to be a Mitsubishi Lancer. They are very cool. I remember back when I was looking at cars around the time when I was like 16 and didn't have any money, looking on like Craigslist and stuff and seeing every now and again, I would see a Mitsubishi Lancer listing pop up, and that was before car prices went like absurd over the past few years. And I was always like, man, if only I had like $5,000. Oh, and this one's right-hand drive. I can't tell, but I thought I heard rain for a second there. I've talked about this a little bit on stream before, I think. I've been really frustrated with the weather a little bit where I live over the past few months because we have barely gotten any rain. Like, we're normally a pretty rainy area, and it straight up didn't rain for like 5 months, and then it still hasn't even rained that much. It's rained a couple times, but not that many. And like every time that, like, it's always like they're like, oh, we're gonna get this big storm, in a couple days, and then it just like never happens. And so they've been saying the same thing that supposedly this weekend we're supposed to get a big storm where I live. um and originally they said it was coming on like Friday, and no storm on Friday, and then Saturday, and then no storm on Saturday, and then now it's supposed to be here tonight, and it's still not here tonight. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's good in some ways that we're not having like, crazy storms roll through, but also like some rain would be nice. Earlier, oh wait, did my phone go off? No, I am hearing things. Um, we were supposed to get a storm here and we didn't. Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with the weather lately. Like, yeah, it's kind of annoying sometimes. Like, I don't know how you feel about rain, Jimmy. Great. But like, I like rain, so like I'm always kind of looking forward to storms, so long as they're not the type that are going to be like dangerous. And so sometimes I get like annoyed when it's like I keep seeing not only like weather forecasts on TV, but also like, the weather on my phone and on the computer and stuff. And it's like, oh, you're getting this storm, and then it just doesn't happen. But eh, it is what it is, I guess. I wonder if I don't think the original Forza Motorsport has any rainy tracks. Although this one has some clouds on it. We had flooding a couple months ago. Um, that sucks. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Um, yeah. I've never really firsthand had to deal with a flood myself, but I know that there's been like areas around where I live that have been flooded and stuff over the past few years, and man, floods can be intense. Like, they really do just wash away everything, and that kind of sucks. Actually, we did get some pretty crazy rain last year in my area that it didn't lead to complete flooding, but it led to some like flash floods in some areas, and like, I mention this all the time. I have two vehicles. I have a car and a truck, and normally I only take the truck to work like a couple times a week because it's kind of rattly and old, and I don't want to get stranded anywhere. But I ended up taking the truck to work like almost an entire week one time because it was so rainy, and I was glad that I did because I remember the one day in particular I was driving, and there was this huge puddle that had formed in the middle of this one road. And there were some smaller, like lower cars that were actually having trouble getting through it. And luckily in my truck, I could just kind of glide right over. I literally drove through a river in my truck one time. But yeah, yeah. I live up near Chicago where Watch Dogs takes place. Oh, that's really cool. Dude, I love Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs is an awesome, awesome game. Um, I've never been to Chicago myself, but I have family members who've been there and who have said that it's really cool there. Um, I think there's some rappers that I like from Chicago too. I always forget Chicago is in it's in Illinois, right? That's it. It's not as sometimes there's cities that just don't seem like they fit with the state that they're in. And Chicago is one of those ones that I'm like, wait a minute, that's in Illinois. Like what? Same with what other ones are there? Minneapolis. I forget that that's in Minnesota. Which other states don't really fit with the vibe of the area, or which other cities don't fit with the vibe of their state? Um, hmm. I don't know. I can't really think of any right now. But you know what I mean. There's cities sometimes that you're like, that's not no, that doesn't belong in that state. Honestly, one that I've always felt pretty strongly about, New York City. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. New York City does not feel like New York at all. New York City feels like New Jersey. New York City does not feel like the rest of New York feels. If you've ever been to like New Jersey and then also been to like the actual state of New York, yeah, it's easy to see that New York City is a part of New Jersey. It is not a part of New York. You know, speaking of Watch Dogs, I haven't read it yet, but I got a comic when I went to visit my girlfriend a couple months ago. There was this one comic store that we stopped at, and they had this section that was really cheap stuff. It was like their discount, like bargain, clearance sale area. That was in the UK, and so they have like it's pounds there. So like anyway, they had a bunch of stuff in this clearance section that was only like 1 pound, and they actually had one of the Watch Dogs comic books in there for I think it was just a pound. It might have even been 50p. I think it was. I think it takes place in Brazil. And I mean to read that because I like Watch Dogs, and I've been curious to read some of the comics that came out for Watch Dogs, but I haven't yet. I actually, dude, I bought so much stuff from that comic store that day because that whole bargain section. I don't think anything in that bargain section was over 3 pounds, and most of it was a pound or under. So I bought like probably 5 or 6 or even 7 things, and it was only like 10 pounds. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. That was fun to try to pack in the suitcase. By the way, also, when I went to get my drink of water a second ago, I was thinking, I misspoke a second, like a little while earlier in the stream. I had said Twitch streaming instead of YouTube streaming, and I think the reason for that is because I heard some crazy news about Twitch today, and I don't want to spend too long focused on it because I try to focus more on positive things on my streams. But the Twitch streamer Amiru, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I don't know. Like I've heard of her before, but I don't really watch her stuff that much. She's one of these people that kind of pops up on my YouTube Shorts suggestions every now and again, and like I'll watch them because like they're kind of funny. Her and some of the other like IRL streamers and stuff. But so she earlier got assaulted at TwitchCon apparently, and I saw the clip of it, and it's. I mean, I'm sure it was like really scary for her. It's not like she didn't get like punched or anything, but this like random dude comes up on the stage. She was doing like a meet and greet, and she's like in the midst of talking to one of her fans, and this random guy comes up on stage and like grabs her and like tries to kiss her, and then like one of her staff members runs over and like shoves him away and is like telling him off. Yeah, that was crazy to see earlier. And then here's the crazier thing though. So I was when I was looking up like what happened with that, because I was like, oh my god, like I'm not a Twitch streamer. I'm not really involved in the Twitch community, and obviously, like, I don't know Amiru or anybody. like I don't. Sometimes, like, I feel like, listen, like, I know my place a little bit on the ladder here. Like, sometimes smaller streamers and YouTubers and stuff talk about like these way more famous streamers and stuff, like they know them personally. Like, I don't know Amiru, so I just want to put that out there. Like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm an expert on this or anything, but when I was looking up what happened earlier, I found that there was an even creepier thing that happened to her and her friends a couple months ago, where they were doing a real life stream. It was called, I think it was called the Sis-a-thon. It was her and a couple other streamers, and they were on like this boardwalk somewhere, and I think they were in LA or whatever. And there was this dude that like showed up, and like first he tried to ask Amiru for her number, and she obviously said no. And then like they like kicked him away, and then he came back later. He had like dressed up differently, came back later, asked her for her number again, and then when she said no again, he kind of said like, "Oh, I'm just gonna follow you guys till you give me, her number." And then like I think they kind of took it as a joke, but he actually did keep following them. And then it's really scary at the end of the clip. Like you can find it on YouTube. He actually like shouts like that he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna kill you then," and then he like starts charging at like Amiru and her friends, and the camera guy kind of like gets in the way, and like the boardwalk security kind of like gets in the way or whatever. But like that's insane. Like that's really scary. That's one of the reasons why like I know sometimes I feel silly like not really showing my face on the channel or anything. And it's not that I don't want you guys to know what I look like, but like that's part of the reason why I don't show my face or like talk about where I live too closely or anything like that, cuz like there's some crazy people out there. Yeah, that's a scary incident, and I feel bad that her and her friends had to go through that. And the thing is like it's one of those things where you got to think though that not only did that happen to her, but there's like people out there that got to deal with that stuff all the time, and it doesn't even get captured on like a live stream or whatever. Um yeah, but I don't know. It's one of those things. I have a feeling that it's going to reflect badly on Twitch, and I've said before, I know that for a little while I was talking about moving my streams to Twitch. I think I've pretty much decided that I'm not going to do that. Mostly because like my Roblox streams and stuff have done really well here. Yeah, I don't know. Twitch has always been kind of an iffy platform in my opinion. There's a lot of negative stuff that happens there, and this is just kind of one of the things. Because apparently too, the dude who went up to Amiru at Twitch earlier and tried to like kiss her, like they didn't kick him out for a while still too, which was like strange. um, but yeah. Anyway, that's enough talking about like Twitch drama, given that I'm not even a Twitch streamer. But yeah, it's spooky and it's crazy when you hear about things like that. Yeah, I feel like sometimes the whole rise of like influencer culture and stuff has led to this weird disparity between the fame that people have and the security that people have, because I feel like there's a lot of people who are famous on Twitch or YouTube or whatever who don't have the same level of like security and stuff that somebody maybe like 30 years ago, like a musician or whatever, would have had for being like the same level of fame. um yeah, and it's yeah. The other thing too though is I feel like just behaviorally, people need to chill out sometimes, like I I I feel like it's mostly a lot of like female influencers who have to deal with like creeps online and stuff, but male influencers obviously have to deal with that kind of thing too. But I I feel like people just really need to understand boundaries sometimes a little bit better. And I I don't know, I just like it's one of these things where I just feel like for one, asking a Twitch streamer for her phone number or whatever is not going to work. Like this type of thing happens all the time you hear stories about somebody going to a meet and greet or whatever, and then like I'm going to come back to that race eventually. Oh my god, it's actually raining. Hallelujah. Oh my god, it's actually raining finally. It's freaking my cat out. um I know that like okay, so like I know that I have 0 viewers right now, but I feel like maybe someday this piece of advice will help out somebody who wanders across my stream. Like it's okay to think that people on the internet are pretty and stuff, and to want to like talk to people that you meet on the internet, like, you know, influencers and stuff. Um, but just don't be weird about it, you know? Like, you have to remember that a person who's an influencer online probably is in a relationship. Like, there's a good chance that they are. And furthermore, that, like, it's, even if you've been in somebody's, like, Twitch chat or whatever, they still don't know you. You know, it's going up to a random person and asking for their phone number is probably going to have the same effectiveness. Like, going up to a Twitch streamer and asking for their phone number is probably going to have the same effectiveness as, like, going up to a random woman in a mall and asking her for her phone number. She's going to probably be creeped out and not want to give you her phone number. um, you know? And it's important to respect people when they say no, you know? It's important to, like, keep in mind that, like, there's plenty of pretty people and plenty of handsome people out there who are not famous influencers that you probably could actually date, you know? But anyway, that's enough about that topic, because that one's a little bit heavy, especially because, like, that stuff just happened today. But like I said, I don't know Miru, and, like, I know that I'm a way smaller streamer or YouTuber than she is, but I do hope that she's all right after that, because I know that that type of thing can be, like, really traumatic. I'm trying to think of something more positive to talk about now, because that was, it's finally raining. In terms of future plans, alongside that Halloween stream idea I was talking about earlier, I would like to try to do another Club Penguin Halloween video. A couple years ago, I did a video where I made a mod for Club Penguin single player client. Well, like, I guess Waddle Forever now, so this one would be on Waddle Forever. Anyway, I made a mod for that where I put all the Halloween rooms from, I think it was 2010 or 2009, whichever year it was that I joined Club Penguin, and I went and kind of explored them. I'd like to do kind of something similar this year, but I don't know if I'll have the time. But that would be something. I wouldn't actually, like, record that on Halloween or whatever. I would schedule that one out in advance. But we'll see if I have the time to do that. Yeah, that's kind of it for Halloween stuff for the channel, though, I think. Unless anything else interesting pops up into my mind. But, and then also, like, the Christmas stream is not that far away. Only a little over 2 months till the Christmas stream, which I'm planning on doing again this year. So if you haven't seen one of my Christmas streams before, it's usually I will stream Christmas Eve from about 10 p.m. till about 2 a.m. Christmas Day. I usually try to aim for at least midnight, but normally try to go for like 2 a.m., so about 4 hours. Yeah, it's kind of based on, like, how when I was a kid I used to stay up really late on Christmas Eve because I could never fall asleep because I was so excited for Santa to visit. So that kind of became a little bit of like a tradition for me. But yeah. This, is that a Mitsubishi Eclipse? Man, it's really kicking my butt here. Did so well in the first two races in the series, and now I'm getting, like, kind of caught up on by this and that. There was a Cadillac, too. I'm curious to see after I finish this stream how it actually looks on YouTube, because on my big 4K TV right now, it doesn't look that good. It's really interesting how the size of a display can affect how well something looks, because whenever I play original Xbox on my smaller TV that's a little bit older, that has like native component inputs and stuff, it looks really good. But on here, it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great. So I know that, like, you can also in theory hook up like a PS3 or an Xbox 360 to a RetroTink, but to be honest, I don't really see a reason to do that when they both output at 1080p anyway. So I don't really think I'm gonna do that for stuff in the future, especially not for streams, because I already stream in 1080p. But I don't know, if I do make a video kind of doing comparisons and asking which way you guys prefer for me to record stuff, I might test that out just to see how it looks, because it might look better. I don't know, but I don't really think it'll look significantly better. And first place. Nope. I'm probably going to end the stream here shortly, but I do want to try to get a gold in that last one that I didn't get a gold in. In this New York one. You know, like I was just saying, more New Jersey than New York. Let's try this one again. I'm going to try it with the Lancer again. If it doesn't work with the Lancer, I might swap up cars and see if I can get it with a different car. Oh, wow. Something just cracked in me that I didn't even know could crack. Oh, God. I am old. I am getting old. I thought I would age gracefully, but apparently not. Oh, crap. I just realized one of my HDMI cords is plugged in an annoying way. That's going to be a pain to fix. Still been working on getting through the Division. That's what I was thinking about, the HDMI cord thing, because I might play that a little bit after the stream. I've been working on playing the Division, and I've been working on watching Drawn Together. That's my main two things I've been doing, like, outside of the stream, just media-wise, or outside of the channel, just, like, media-wise. And the Division, man, the Division's taken forever. I actually haven't played... Like, the only time I've been playing games, I've played exclusively the Division for a while now, just trying to finish it so bad. I think the only other thing I played Mafia: The Old Country. But otherwise, aside from stuff that I've been playing, like, to stream or to, like, make a video about, I have not played anything other than the Division. That being said, I have finally finished enough side missions to be able to start the main missions and not, like, get wrecked by the AI. So I've been, like, I think I'm kind of close to finishing the game now, finally, now that I've actually started on the story missions, because there's not a ton of them, and once you're leveled up enough to be able to play through them without really taking that much damage and stuff, they're not that hard. So yeah. And then Drawn Together, I'm on season 2. What a show. Good God. That, like, okay, I knew Drawn Together had some kind of, you know, a little bit outdated comedy and stuff, but man, that show is insane. But I'm on season 2. It shouldn't take me that long to finish watching Drawn Together, but I just never actually end up seeming to get time to sit down and watch it. Yeah, there's only 3 seasons of it. I have all 3 seasons on DVD. So, there's also a lot of episodes in season 2, though. There's like 15 episodes, I think, season 2. I don't know how many season 3 has. But, and I had started watching Sliders, too, which that is another show that has a ton of episodes. I don't think I'm gonna... Oh, Toys R Us. I've actually been to that Toys R Us before. That's insane. Hang on, I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Sliders is a cool show, but there's a ton of episodes of it, and I think I just kind of want to finish watching season 1 for now, and then, like, from there, I'll kind of see what else I want to watch, and maybe take a little break from it. But I also want to spend some time working on some ideas that I've had listed down for this channel, because I've got even more ideas for videos listed down. Got a really interesting one. I ordered some cool stuff in the mail, and I've got some cool video ideas related to that. I ordered a barcode scanner, and I have a very cool video idea related to my barcode scanner, and I ordered a UB Funkies set, and I've got at least one video idea for that. So yeah, what I was saying though, the Toys R Us, that one right there, I have actually been to that in real life. I don't know if it still exists or not, but I've been to New York City a handful of times in real life, and yeah, that Toys R Us in Times Square had a, what's it called? Oh my god. What am I... Ferris wheel. It had a Ferris wheel inside. Yeah, yeah. The Toys R Us, pretty cool. Although I remember I never actually like really. I remember thinking it was cool because it was big, but they never really had anything that was like especially crazy. But you know, this was like a long time ago. This is like the 2000s or like early 2010s when I had been to it. I used to like when I went to New York City when I was a little kid. FAO Schwartz, which still exists kind of, and actually sometimes you can find their toys in like Target and stuff now. They used to be really cool. They had, I remember FAO Schwartz had a custom Hot Wheel station where you could make your own custom Hot Wheels, and it was the best thing ever. Dude, I loved that thing. I still have those somewhere. They might actually be worth money now too. Yeah, it was so cool though. Like I'm sure they were all pre-made because there was only like a couple options, but like you could pick which like Hot Wheel type you wanted, like which car type you wanted. You pick the color and stuff. And I used to think it was the coolest thing ever because I've always liked cars, and I have tons of Hot Wheels from when I was a little kid. And yeah, I that was like the most incredible thing ever to me to be able to like make a custom one. And it came in like this little case and stuff. Okay, we might actually win this for one, so long as I kind of keep blocking this, is it a Celica? I can't tell what's behind me, or is it a, what is that? What are you? I can't tell from the resolution. Does the pause menu say? No. It'll say when the race ends, I think. As long as I keep kind of blocking him, should be good. Sorry for the continued back and forth, I just want to make sure I was in front. Because I think that car is objectively faster than mine, but sometimes the AI gets really confused on corners in this game. Or at least, like, it doesn't get confused, but it slows down a lot on corners. So, yeah, see, like, I gained so much ground over that corner. I met Leo Galante from Mafia: The Old Country. Do you mean like the voice actor for Leo Galante? Oh wait, I didn't even. I meant to look at. I meant to look at what car that was. I didn't even pay attention. I think isn't Leo Galante the only character that's in like every Mafia game? Well, no, he's not in the first one. I don't think. Porsche 911 Carrera RS, green, nice. Okay. Yeah. So that's been a pretty long stream actually. Thank you guys for watching my first like retro game stream. I am looking forward to doing some more Mark Whitten. Yeah, yeah. So that's really cool. How did you meet him? Wow, it is like actually raining properly. It's nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some more retro game streams though, cause like you know, I have a huge like PS3 collection, PS4 collection, like more modern consoles and stuff, but I also have really big collections for some of my older consoles too, from when I was like a kid and stuff. Um, Especially PS2 and even Xbox. Like I didn't own an original Xbox till just a couple years ago, but I have collected so many games for it already. Also met Greg Chun from Lost Judgment, plays the main character Yagami. That's cool. Wow, you're just meeting everybody out there. It should be great. Goodness me. I've met actually, you know, I've not really met that many famous people. I've met Charlie XCX and Waka Flocka Flame. You can make music with a barcode scanner. I know, I've heard about that. I do need to look at more stuff to do with the barcode scanner because I have been having a lot of fun with it actually. But in particular, I'll give you guys a little hint as to what the video idea is. So I've been talking about going to arcades lately and how I really enjoy the games that give you collectibles like Injustice, Marvel Contest of Champions, Naruto, Emblem Battle, and Minecraft Dungeons. And a lot of the ways that those games, like the cards work to let you play certain characters and stuff, is they have barcodes. And so I did a little bit of research into reverse engineering, figuring out how those work. And And so I might make a video on that. Now, that being said, if I do make a video on that, I'm going to be very careful with what I show because I do not want to get in trouble with one of the companies for like accidentally revealing trade secrets or something. But I actually figured out exactly how a Naruto emblem battle works, and I think it would make a really interesting video. But if I do make that video, I'm going to be very careful what I show because I do not want to, for one, I don't want to ruin Naruto emblem battle, but for two, I also don't want to get like a cease and desist from whoever makes that game. But it was really interesting. It was a cool experiment. But yeah, have I met anybody else famous? Huh? I guess not really. I'm trying to think if I've ever run into anybody famous. I mean, there were people that I went to college with and stuff that were like Instagram famous, or like there was one girl that I knew in college that was a model, and she's been on some TV shows and stuff now. And like I didn't really know her that well, but like we had a class together and like we talked a few times. But yeah. Anyway, that's gonna be it for the stream. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you. Honestly, I probably won't stream again until that Halloween stream, but keep an eye out for that. I'm gonna make a post probably around the time, like a couple days before I do that, because that is going to be a really cool thing, assuming I get it all to work again. Yes, keep an eye out for that. It will be very cool. It's a very, very cool thing. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the future. And in the meantime, I might have some videos come out, so don't think that I'm not gonna like work on anything till Halloween. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you in other stuff in the future. Have a nice night or morning, whatever, wherever you are. And bye bye.